So today is the 1st of October 2022 and I'm going to share with you in this video my shares portfolio. And I might be the only person on YouTube that actually has a shares portfolio, but I thought, you know what, let's do it. Let's start a monthly shares portfolio update. And now this portfolio is very small in value. And for people who have been investing in a while, this might not be the video for you, but I know a lot of people that are very scared of investing, and to start even with £1 or £2 is still quite frightening. So this portfolio will be for absolute beginners who want to expose themselves to the who want to have exposure to the stock market. And because you start with such a small amount of money, it can be an incredible learning process to then put in more money and, you know, have a portfolio the size of 10 million or whatever. Of course, everyone's performance is going to differ. So the shares app is very new. A lot of you might not even have heard of it. Even if you look on YouTube, there's absolutely nothing there. So this is going to be a great video for the shares company. And on that note, I found out about shares very funnily because they actually contacted me. So they emailed me and said they want to meet up with me virtually, and I said okay. And the premise was that I become a brand ambassador. So this is quite a story because I've had the first meeting. I went into the meeting, waited 30 minutes and no one was there, which is a terrible look on the company, and I should have just quit communications right there. I emailed them and said, you know what, I was in the meeting, I'm not sure what happened, but I couldn't get through to you. And they said there was some sort of scheduling error or something like that, and that they were scheduling it for next week. And I thought to myself, that was a non-valid excuse because the meeting was booked in advance. I had confirmations and everything. The person just probably forgot, which is not good. It was on a Friday, so I thought not too much about it. So then I met up with the person that was representing shares on the next Tuesday because Monday was a bank holiday, and immediately I didn't get great vibes from them. I'm not sure what happened. Maybe they were tired or something, and I just didn't feel comfortable in that situation. And the person went through what it would mean to be a shares ambassador and how much they would be paying and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, I'll probably just do it just to like gain some experience on stuff like that. I'm already working with another investment company anyway, so this just adds to my portfolio of companies that I'm working with, and they're a new company and I like what they actually stand for. And towards the end of the meeting, the person said that they will be sending me some of the literature, like the leaflets and stuff on how to join the ambassadors program, and that they will send me a contract within the next week. It's been over a month, I haven't heard anything from them, so take that for what it is. I know that Shares is a new company, and personally I'm not too happy about, you know, the communications that I've had with Shares, but I do still think it's a good platform for beginners to start investing with as little as £1. So I will leave my link in the description below if you want to sign up. I think you get a free share and I will get something too. However, feel free not to use this if you don't want. I'm not gonna actually encourage anyone to actually use the link, but if you were impressed by what you see from my portfolio, feel free to use that link. So like I said, I don't have a lot of money invested into this platform, and this video is really aimed for beginners who want to start investing with very small amounts of money. So as you can see, the value of my portfolio is £11.56. Today is a Saturday, so all the markets are closed, so it shouldn't fluctuate too much. And as you can see, the Shares app allows you to track the changes in your portfolio value throughout a 1 day period, 1 week period, 1 month period, 1 year, and total. So you can clearly see the weighted value of your portfolio. So for example, when you see the increases in the portfolio value, they are more likely due to deposits rather than me making actual money from the returns of my investments. So as you may know, right now is a very volatile and very bearish time in the market. What bearish basically means is that the stock values are all going down and down because of many different economical situations, such as rising interest rates, high inflation, and all these monetary policies that are getting changed and going back to and fro. But as a beginner, you don't know too much about that, but all you know is that the stocks are going down in value, which a lot of the time when stocks are going down in value, they become cheaper to own. So in the future, you may get a better growth. Remember, this video is definitely not financial advice. All investment carries risk, and your capital is always at risk. So we can also at a glance see the profit and loss. So for example, I've invested £11.56 and I've lost £1.59, which in today's climate is not too much. So as you can see, that's a negative 12%, which is usually a big loss, but at the current climate, I don't think that's a big loss at all. If you see some of my other portfolios, I've got like minus 90% losses plus that. Anyway, I have invested in 3 companies right now. So I've invested in Colgate Palmolive, and Shares allows you to easily check the vital stats. So for example, the vital stats for a beginner, you don't have to think too much, but the price earning ratio is a very important number, and also dividend yield. So not all stocks give dividends. So I made a video on dividends if you want to check out over here, but essentially dividends are a payment that a company gives to its shareholders. So for example, someone who owns some of its shares, in order to kind of encourage them to keep holding the shares and not just trade. So they give a portion of their profits is split up into dividends, and this company, Colgate Palmolive, is giving 2.62% annual dividend yield, so that's a nice thing to have. Currently, investors are looking more towards dividend stocks. So many stocks actually have zero dividends. So all the money that you can gain is by selling it at a future date when hopefully the value of your stock goes up. So Colgate Palmolive, the whole share value is $70.25. However, I've invested 99p in it. And that's the great thing about shares, is that it allows you to invest just £1. So I put in £1 and 1p actually goes towards their fees, such as the foreign exchange. So because you're changing from pound to dollars, there is a charge that is needed by a payment processor somewhere else, so not necessarily shares. But anyway, I have 0.014675592 shares. So a very, very small amount of shares. However, it still lets me have exposure to Colgate Palmolive. I am technically a shareholder, just a very, very small amount. Another great thing about shares is it really is made for beginner investors. So you have all these latest news tidbits, you have analyst ratings, which I wouldn't necessarily trust this right now because it isn't based on too much information, so only based on information from 14 analysts. As the platform develops more, there will be better tools, I'm sure. You can also find out the CEO, the number of employees, and go directly to the website. So that's Colgate. I have 0.1 shares I have 0.1 share in Alphabet. So if you don't know, Alphabet is the parent company of Google, and Google is a huge company. It even owns YouTube. So Google is a very, very large company with a lot of cash. As an investor, you want to invest in a company with a lot of extra money, because in hard times like we're seeing it now, like in recessions, the company is unlikely to actually go all the way down, go bankrupt, and essentially you'll lose all your money in that case. So the share price in Google used to be a lot higher. It's not going to be shown on this graph, but it used to be around $1,000 or more. And what they've done is a stock split. So they've actually diluted their shares more. And this, as a beginner, you don't have to know too much about that. But right now, it is much cheaper to buy Google stocks because they've done a stock split, and also because the value is going down, as you can see here. So like I said, many companies don't pay dividends. This company does not pay dividends, so that's something to consider. You are only buying shares with the hope that in the future, the value of those shares will go up and you can sell them when you need them, and therefore you have made a profit. You have beat inflation, hopefully too. And lastly, I have invested in Apple, and you can see that Apple over the past year has been it's going sideways. And recent news that Apple hasn't been selling as many iPhones as they thought they were, and they've lowered the production of these, has resulted in a dip in the share price of Apple. All this and more can be found out in the latest news section. And remember, I'm actually not a brand ambassador of shares, even though they gave me the opportunity, they didn't follow through. I could have been one of these people, maybe writing one of these articles, but I'm not. So right now, analysts are saying it's a strong buy, but you know what? You should always do your own research when investing in stocks. The good thing about investing a small amount of money is that if you invest for like a year, you can learn so much. And because you put your real money in that, you can understand the changes in the stock market and things like that. That's definitely how I started. But anyway, Apple does pay a dividend, but it's a very, very low dividend. Anything below around 2% is almost not worth holding the stock just for the dividends. So a dividend yield of 0.65 is basically not much at all. But sometimes companies can issue special dividends for holding their stocks, so take of that what you will. So I have 0.007 shares, so a very tiny fraction of shares. I invested 99p, I've lost 13p, and that pretty much is my shares portfolio. I will be doing monthly updates, and I'm going to continue contributing what I think a beginner, very, very beginner investor is going to put in. So a few pounds here and there, almost like coffee money, any extra change I can put into my shares account. So do make sure to subscribe, because I'm probably going to be the only one on the internet that does shares portfolio updates. I'll also do portfolio updates on my InvestEngine account, my Trading 212 account, and also my free trade account, which is the biggest one. And I'm thinking of doing weekly updates because I do a lot of different stock picks on that on a daily basis. Make sure to check out some of my other videos, and I will see you in the next video.